सलाम मेरे अजीज पंखों।
Sana sat there like a statue. Today she was lost in her respect in Jungkook's eyes. She lost her high status in front of him. She broke him to the extent that now Jungkook was in this condition because of her. Since morning she was waiting for him to come back so she could explain or try to apologize for aborting their child. But what she got was a call that Jungkook collapsed while his nose were bleeding and Invu was taking him to the hospital. It's been a couple of hours. Doctor didn't say anything and was still inside the ward. It's John, Sana. Sana's head shot up and she heard someone calling her name. Her eyes were red and her lips were dry. Doctor, how is my husband? What happened to him? Is he okay? Can I meet him? She rushed to the doctor and Invo and his mother. Calm down, Miss John. You have to be patient. The news is not that pleasant. Stared at his face that the family before continuing. He is critical. He had a nervous breakdown. His brain stopped working, and that next 24 hours was critical for him. He has to be conscious in the next 24 hours, or else he will get into the coma or worse to die. They all gasped in horror as the word left his mouth. Sana trembled back as if someone hit hard. Sana, she was not properly healed from the operation and that the tumor of losing her child was still fresh. Now, this news made her lost her willpower. The next 24 hours went painfully fast for John, and there was no use for Junko getting back to consciousness. And at the end of the hour, doctor declared that he went into a coma and that for nothing they could do if Jungkook didn't respond himself. I stepped into the hospital with a heartbeat. A few messy hair strands were hanging around my face. Because of the long journey, I made my way toward the ward as I already knew the number. It's been a couple of weeks since I first heard about it, being hospitalized, but decided not to come back as I didn't want to come back into their lives to only give them the chance to call me again. But when he told me that my cook got into the coma and I could not stop myself, it's been 2 weeks. It was night and the hospital was almost empty. I went toward the room and gladly no one was present there. As he told me, I slowly opened the door and stepped inside before closing the door behind me. I looked toward the bed and there was my life, laying lifeless, making my way toward him with baby steps. With every step, I felt my heart thumping inside my chest, breaking, almost got stuck, and I stared at him, bugs around his eyes, lips were chapping dry and dark, cheeks won't become little more. All I could see was the struggle he had faced. My hands went to his face as I touched his forehead and ran my finger towards his eyes, cheeks, and then lips. I sat on the chair as I felt a loss of energy suddenly. My head fell into his arms. What have you done to yourself? I cried, holding his hands. I left you so that you could be happy. I live peacefully without any stress. And here, doctor is saying you had take stress to the extent where your brain stopped working. I look at his face and lay our fingers together, kissing them back of the hand. I said, doctor is saying you're not fighting enough. It was saying you don't want to come back into your life. I don't know what made you like, because I know you're not that weak to get into the depression. I kissed his hand while tears continuously fell from my eyes. Please, please come back. I can't see you like this. I will die. If anything happens to you, you have to come back. Me. For us. I stared at his face and didn't know how much time has passed. I looked at the wall and saw it was already 10 minutes since I came here. I only had 10 minutes to meet my husband. I stood up and held his face with one hand, as other hand was still holding his hand, and placed a kiss on his forehead before kissing his eyes one after another, his nose, cheeks, and then placed my soft lips on his. I peeked there a few times before pulling back, only to rest my forehead on his. Love you. I love you, Cook. I love it way too much. I will die if anything happens to you. I saw one single tear escape his eyes and hide it in my hand. I wipe it and jerk back before standing straight beside his bed. He almost making me smile and stare at the same time. His eyes were still closed, but his breathing became uneven, and the sound started to come from the monitor. I have to go, I whispered, stepping back only to stop as I felt holding my hand tightly. Leave me, Gog. I tried to pull my hand, but his grip was tight. Cook, please leave me. I pleaded, as I know the doctor will come inside any time with those sounding beeps. Cook, please. I tried to pull my hand with all the strength, but I have no to use. With all my strength, I jerked my hand away and ran toward the room to see the doctors or few nurses come inside the room. I hid behind the wall. He checked Jungkook. He's out of the coma in front of his family, the doctor explained. With relief, I stepped toward the door and one last time turned to look at him, only to find him looking at me before I ran out of there, not before seeing his eyes closed again. She stared at his face with love filled in her eyes, reading her face with her hand. She felt peace. He slowly opened his eyes as he felt a warm touch on his face. She smiled, lovingly making him smile as well. He was seeing him, 20-year-old Sana, who was less selfish, who was less arrogant, who was more lively, who was more adorable. She put her forehead on his. I forgive you. I forgive you for marrying second time. I forgive you for falling for someone else. I forgive you for hiding the truth from me for all those years. Django felt a drop of tear on his cheeks. He blinked his eyes and stared into Sana tears-filled eyes. His smile long ghost as he realized their current situation. She pulled back and stared into his eyes. I forgive you for loving someone else more than me. I forgive you for hating for someone else. I forgive you for your every mistake. Her tears slid down his eyes. I'm not forgiving you to get your forgiveness in return for aborting our child. No, I'm not being selfish for once. She chuckled, standing straight while wiping his tears. I've done this only for my peace. I finally accepted my fate. I realized I can't change the past. I only try to make the present better. And I will wait for your forgiveness. I will not give up on you and our relationship. I know you're tired now from for on. I will try to become the best friend, which I was before we got married. I will try my best to heal our marriage. I will try my best to heal you. Jungkook only stared at her with hollow eyes, with a couple of tears escape his eyes without his knowing. She wiped the corner of his eyes and kissed his forehead. His fist and eyes shut. He stopped himself from feeling the spirit again in between them, which they lost a long time ago. She walked out of the room, while Jungkook stared at the closed door. He opened his fist and looked at the ring in his hand. Theung's wedding ring.